juicing now.
And then there's some kind of pulp that comes from the juice that you eat. I mean, there's not a whole lot left. You're like a, you're like one of those birds that like vultures. You know, you eat everything but the bone, and that's kind of you with these veggies.
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't like to waste things. So I went through this phase when I was like in eighth grade where I'd eat the whole apple except for the stem. So I'd eat everything.
Wow.
Except for the little stem. So no
Wow.
core for me.
That's like eating a steak with the fat,
Yeah,
but maybe a healthier version of that.
healthier version. So I don't like to waste things, but diet and exercise, big, big ways to fuel your body and fuel your business, I think.
Something else that we do is we save money. I really like to have, and I'm very, very comfortable, although not as comfortable as I used to be, with having very little money. I think I told this story on here one time about having 11 cents in the bank.
Ouch.
And hitting the road. It's kind of scary to think about now, but I did it when I was building my business. And I got used to not having a lot of money when I was building it. But these days, I like to have a buffer, and I like to have money in the bank. And one of the ways that I do that, because I have a tendency, whatever money comes in, to spend it on continuing to grow the business, I just take the money straight out of the bank account. And that goes into either a savings account or an investment account. And that sets me up to where, should something happen, and things have happened over the years to business income, where I have a cushion and I don't have to make a desperate decision because I need money. I think that kills more businesses than just about anything. Desperation. It's awful.
And I noticed a lot of new entrepreneurs, especially the ones that quit their job and are fully supported by their business, are saying, well, I'll start saving money when I make more money. I'll start saving money when I can. And that gets you out of the habit of doing it. And then you never end up starting, and then you never have that cushion. So start saving as soon as possible. I think that's the key. My father has been telling me that since I was born. So I know there's some wisdom in that, but start saving. Even if you can only save $10 a month, it's
start
better.
the habit.
Yeah, start the habit. It's better than saving nothing at all.
And do it automatically. You would be amazed at how painless that is. I started that actually, strangely enough, talking about your father. One of my very first jobs, I had a sales job when I was 16 years old. It was a telemarketing job for a big company, for Gannett. They own USA Today. And they had an opportunity for 401k, and they would match it. And my father was like, do it. Do as much.
My dad said that too.
Yeah, he said, do it. Take as much as they'll match. I said, okay. So that was me in high school. I wasn't making a lot of money. Taking that money out really became a great habit. And if you do that for a while, you'd be amazed at how much it will add up. And then you can do something with it. You can build the business. But it's always great to look at that account and know that if everything went away, you're going to have some money that you're not going to have to make any of those desperation decisions, as I call them.
And David, I think the common thread throughout everything that we've talked about so far today, the sleep, living environment, diet and exercise, and saving money, those are all habits. Those are not, like, setting yourself up to win is creating these habits in your life. And it's not just, oh, do this and I'll set myself up to win, or that foundation will be built. The foundation is built on regular good habits.
And it doesn't seem like work. I know a lot of people,
if you make it a habit.
Well, if they're trying to get their diet in order, they think, oh my gosh, I couldn't eat these strawberries because I'm depriving myself. It's not about that. It's making habits that are going to really benefit and support you, and you just don't think anything of it.
Yeah, I mean, we eat food that we love to eat.
Yeah, we eat food that we like to eat, and the saving money is not depriving us of something now. It's that we would rather have that financial foundation in the future than anything. We've bought enough stuff, Laurel, over the years, both of us have, to where we know that it just doesn't, it's that hungry ghost, right? You can't fill it. It's always hungry. And we know that any more money that we spend on ridiculous stuff is not going to make us any more happier. So why not just put that money in savings? Because that's really what's going to make us happen. That's what's going to allow us to be here 10 years from now. That's how we've lasted so long. Well, hey, speaking of financial foundation, I want to talk about a shelf income. One of the best ways I have heard to talk about this, I love what Jeff Goins talked about when he said to be your own patron, meaning that you do something for money that is going to allow you to do your art, to do your books, to do your podcast, to do whatever it is that you eventually want to make more money from. He calls it be your own patron. I call this a shelf. And if you can get one business going to where, let's say it makes $3,000 or $4,000 a month, completely doable, and you set it and forget it, that's going to allow you to explore more. And when you explore without being desperate, again, back to those desperation decisions, if you can avoid those decisions and get out there and explore, that's when the real money comes in, because you get to talk about and do things that you like and that you're passionate about and that can make you the real big money, not just the maybe 4 figures a month, bump you up to 5 or 6 figures a month.
But what about if an entrepreneur doesn't want different businesses? What if they just want, maybe they're a photographer, like I do a lot of photography, and they just have one business? What would you recommend for them to build a shelf income so they can at least do more of what they love to do?
Well, the big opportunity for a photographer would be licensing. You've got all that content that you can go out and shoot. If you were to license it, if you had like a great photo, you can go out and license that, and you just make money off of that photo or that collection of photos. I would get on something like iStock or something where you can license the content and then make money from its sale.
So it's not necessarily you have to get one business set up and move on to the next one. You just have to get your shelf set up in some form of passive income and then continue to do what you do.
Yeah, it could be a diversification, and owning of copyright. That's actually how I got started in the music industry, is that I was owning what we call publishing in the music industry, basically copyrights, owning a song, if you will. And you can go out and license that song, or when it gets played on the radio, you get paid for it. When it gets sold on a CD, you get paid for it. Licensed to film and TV, you get paid for it. So there are a lot of opportunities when you own copyright. And I think most online marketers, information marketers, the people that are creating content, they have that same opportunity. It might not be as good, but the opportunity is there. For example, putting something in a book that would sell, you have a lot of opportunities for your content these days.
Well, you mentioned diversification. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it is extremely dangerous to be tied to one source of revenue. And that source could be one blog. It could be one source of traffic for the blog. A lot of people, you see this with online marketers, they think, oh, wow, I'm doing all this SEO, search engine optimization, and I've got Google, and they're sending me tons of traffic. Well, that works great until Google decides to not send that traffic to you. That could be through an algorithm swap, which happens all the time. People flip out over that. I knew a guy, and he was making, it was a good 5 figures a month. And he went out and bought a new car, and then the next thing you know, he can't do the repairs on the car, can't afford to park it. It was embarrassing because this was back in the day of everybody was doing it. I was doing it. We were making a lot of money off Google AdSense. And we put ads up on the sites, and we'd put up these little sites making a killing. A lot of people made really quick money, but it was a game. That's one of the reasons that we have Red Podcasts, because I'd hate to see people make that same mistake, get over your head, and then you're not able to continue that.
Yeah, that's something that Steve Scott, one of the internet marketers and Kindle gurus, mentioned when he was on my podcast, the Go Fire Yourself podcast, is that he got into what you're saying with the whole AdSense and internet marketing and things like that. And when it fell through, you don't have a business to hold on to. There's nothing left. So
No.
diversifying is what would really help. If one thing kind of goes down, you've got the next one going, and you just have a couple things going at the
Well,
same
to take
time.
it back to the 401k, that's all that is diversification. You don't put all your money in a single stock that goes up and down and up and down. And I've done that, and it's scary to watch.
And it's not something, tell me if I'm wrong, David, but it's not something you have to do immediately. Like we are talking about building the foundation. So start thinking about it now and maybe planning towards it. But if you're just now getting your business started, you don't think about, okay, what's my next business going to be that's going to get that shelf? At least get one going and then start to work on the next thing.
Absolutely. This is about setting yourself up to win. And this is about a long-term strategy, which is everything that we're talking about here. So you don't have to think about it right this instant, but never, ever, ever make the mistake of getting behind one single thing and putting all your money into it. It's just not worth it. You can have fun with that, especially when you're younger and you've got all these years ahead of you, but eventually you're going to want a little bit more, want to go a little bit more conservative when it comes to your businesses and have something that is going to last you. And maybe the returns aren't going to be that great, but it's going to give you that peace of mind, and that's worth a lot.
So I'd say this stuff that we're talking about today, David, it's not really like the sexy marketing, making more money, sales kind of stuff for business, but it really is essential if you want to skyrocket your business, I think.
It's absolutely essential. And the longer you're in business, you will see guys that don't think about this stuff, and they're doing great. They're driving a nice car, living in a big house. But 3 or 4 years from now, when something goes wrong, they're going to be in trouble. And once you see that a few times, you think, uh-oh. And hopefully it won't happen to you. And if you do these things, it won't happen to you because you'll have set up that foundation to win, and you'll be ready for long-term success.
Sounds good to me. So where can people go to get more information about us?
Redpodcast.com is where to find us. And what does RED stand for, Laurel?
Real Entrepreneur Development.
The real stuff, not just the tricks, but the strategies that will keep you going and going and going for as long as you want to make big money over the life of your career. You can write to me there. You can write to Laurel there. We love taking listener questions. redpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.